And okay. And hello, everyone. So happy to see you. So many people joining our interview with Inna. Inna is a Moscow-based writer, accomplished writer, and journalist, and she loves writing. And when she told me about her passion, it's just contagious. So because of the amount of people today, we do not do the self-introduction as of right now yet. We will ask you to introduce yourself when you ask Inna a question, or later on when you want to speak, please introduce yourself then. And we do have a rule, please, in our meeting, all the clarity events, please do not talk about politically sensitive or racially sensitive topic because we don't want to affect anyone negatively, also affect Clarity Project negatively. So now let's welcome Inna. Inna, please tell us a little bit more about yourself and how is it like grow up in Moscow or in Russia?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jan and Victoria, for inviting me. I'm really excited to be part of the Clarity Project. I actually grew up not far from Moscow, 100 kilometers off Moscow, but I've lived here since my university years. That's more than, it's about 20 years now. And I wouldn't say growing up in Russia was something very specific. So for me, it was just my childhood, my family. I was enjoying my young years at school with my friends, with my family. When I went to university, another world opened up for me because you know, school is still your childhood, but university is your first independent years, and it was the time of exploring different opportunities, being on my own for the first time. So these are just stages in life, for everyone.
Yeah. How did you discover your passion for writing?
It's an interesting story, actually. My mother is a teacher of Russian and literature, and I've always been into humanities, into literature. But at school, I didn't really like writing, although I always had the best marks. And it was only in university when we started working on our course papers, on our thesis, that I got into the taste of it, and I realized, well, how you can actually construct texts, and I started to enjoy it, and I just like the process when you have an idea, and at first it's very unclear. But when you start writing, you actually put into words these disparate concepts that you have in your head, and actually the writing is thinking, because that's how you articulate your ideas. And speech and writing are two ways of thinking.
Yeah, great, wonderful. I agree with you. Every time I do a speech, it's really sometimes you feel it's like a philosophical process, discovering yourself and discovering the world. Do you still remember the first piece you wrote?
Oh, it's hard to say, because, you know, at school we had classes in literature, and we had tasks that are called composition. So we had to write compositions about some works of literature. And later we had some course papers at university. But when I really got into writing, it was by the end of my studies, when I took another course. It was a joint program of Moscow State University and Sorbonne in Paris. So this program was based in Moscow, and it was taught in French, and it is still taught in French. It's still open. And I took a course in sociology, and that course was taught based on French principles. And in the French educational system, you have an assignment called dissertation. No, it's not a dissertation, it's not a thesis, but it's kind of an essay structured according to some rules, formal rules and informal rules. And you know, in writing, structure is everything. Even if you have the brightest idea, you have to first you write down all these thoughts, and then you think how you can put it together. What is the most important thing? What is secondary? And then so it comes together. And that French system taught me a lot. And I think at this point, I started to really enjoy it. And later, after the university, I did translations, and then I started as a journalist, quite accidentally. But again, I was taught some basic skills necessary for writing news. I was a news editor, and news is quite a specific format. Again, you have to know how to structure and what information to use and how to research these news items. So basically, these are skills, but once you master them, you have this pleasant feeling of achievement, and that's what it makes the process pleasurable.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's naturally segued into the little bit into the details of writing, the purpose and how you feel and all that process. I'd love to open the floor now. If you have any question regarding writing, whether you're writing for your company website, or you're writing for social media, or you're writing for a report, you're very welcome to ask Inna's questions. If you don't, I will keep going. So it's right now, it's the best time you jump in to get the most from this interview. You can directly communicate and talk to Inna. So anybody who has any question, please just either jump in, unmute yourself, or raise your hand. Yeah, I see Lulu raised her hand. Please, Lulu, go ahead.
Thank you so much. First of all, can you hear me okay?
Yes, yeah, perfect.
Okay. I have two questions. The first question, so when Inna mentioned that French system teaches you a lot regarding to the structure, I would like to hear more about that. That's like very fascinating, because French writing, it's always very beautiful literature, including Russia. My friend told me that in Russian literature, it's more tragedy. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not very good at literature, but I would love to know more.
Yeah, thank you.
And the French, I think it's more like maybe learning Spanish. So for me, for me, Spanish is super, super beautifully sexually presentation. You know, they're so open-minded and romantic. So that's how I understand about that. So this is my first question. I would like to know more about the French system structure. And the second question is, where can I see your writings? It'll be nice to check some of your articles. That's my question.
Okay. Lulu, thank you very much for your questions. They're really interesting. So about the French system, we have to distinguish between different types of writing, because literature, fiction is one thing, and it has its own rules, but a writing for I don't know, an article for a newspaper in French is another thing. So to answer your question about the French system, I think writing is really integrated into the French educational system as a tool, because in the French history, I think it's related to the French mentality, and in their culture, philosophy has always been very important, and they really love their philosophers, and this way of thinking is taught through all stages of education in France. And the main thing is that they teach you that all texts or all, how to say, conceptual ideas should have some thesis, some antithesis, examples. What else? It should be objective, so you have to mention at least two sides of the story or two different opinions. So these are formal things that somehow direct your mind in your research, and that's how you sort out facts, pieces of information you need for say putting forward a certain argument. And this is actually critical thinking. That's what they taught you in general. And critical thinking is extremely important these days because we have so much information around us. Internet is full of various facts, and the key thing today is to be able to do fact checking and to understand which sources of information are reliable and which are not. Information published at the website of Yale University, you can trust it because you have people who wrote it, which research it was founded on. But if you don't have sources for a piece of writing, it could be interesting to read, but and to know, but you don't really know whether you can trust it or not. So, and it applies to everything these days. You have to know where to find information. And that is the first stage in any writing, in any ideation. And actually writing is not necessarily something you type on your screen. Writing can also be, putting together a video game. or a YouTube script, first you think about what pieces it should contain, and then you put it together. As for your question about literature and how it differs in different cultures, I wouldn't generalize. Of course, there are some writers we know, like, I don't know, Flaubert, Balzac in France, or Dostoevsky and Tolstoy in Russia, which are classics, of course, and for many, these names are kind of archetypal, and they judge about literature of this country based on that. But there is modern literature as well, and it's very different, and you can find all kinds of narratives there, and that's what makes literature interesting, because you can find what resonates with you. It may be a horror story, it may be science fiction, it may be a romantic story. What matters is the quality of writing, and how you what form you choose for putting together your story, your idea, etc. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Inna. I think you touched on a very important point. You were talking about nowadays it's very difficult to distinguish what is true, what is not true, and especially writing for social media. Can you elaborate a little bit more on how do you do research for your materials?
Research standards are pretty much the same, whatever the topic is. So say you have to write something about, I don't know, personal development. Sorry. If you're not familiar with the topic, you just Google personal development and you see what you have. And there you will have hundreds of pages, but now you have to see what sources they have. For instance, you may want to write, to read articles by famous scientists, or at least scientists from respected universities, so you know that there is a certain level of quality. You may want to read articles that were published by quality media, like I don't know, the Washington Post, New York Times, or Le Figaro, whatever. This is your first stage. You get a general idea of the topic. And then you start to dig into details. For instance, you have to write about how to, I don't know, how to manage your time, right? That's one of the topics that we could put into personal development. And you read more, and you try to make a list of what catches your attention. In the first place, what is important to describe to your audience, the general idea, to introduce that topic, that area to the audience. And then you dig for details. And here it is important to listen to yourself and to observe your emotions and to see what triggers you because what you find interesting personally and what you get excited about will most likely be interesting for your readers or for people watching a YouTube for which you wrote a script. Because any kind of writing or public speaking is based on emotion. You can enumerate facts, but no one will remember them, and that will not catch someone's attention. You have to somehow explain, not necessarily directly, but indirectly by giving examples from your experience or saying how you are feeling about that, putting yourself, your personality into that narrative. That's what makes any story, any kind of information interesting for your audience.
Yeah, that I totally agree with you. Personal stories sell, and personal stories win people's hearts. So I'd like to ask our audience, do you guys have any questions for Inna? Alice, I know you are very interested in writing. Do you have any questions for Inna?
Hello, I'm sorry, I'm not very convenient to open my camera, but Inna, very nice to meet you and very nice to know you, because I also love to read books in daily life, and I also wish to become maybe a writer in the future. So I'm very curious about maybe how the writing, how much has the writing, like how to say, how much has the writing changed your life or to yourself?
That's a very good question. Thank you, Alice. I really appreciate it. Actually, I wouldn't say it has changed my life, because it has been my life for many years, and it's very hard to separate myself from writing because I dedicate most of my time to it. But it's a good question how it has changed. I would rather say how it has impacted me. What I love about writing and journalism is that you work with information, and that is fuel for my natural curiosity. And this is actually the reason why people become journalists and writers, because that allows you to come into contact with so many interesting people and to listen to their narratives, or just learn about them just by through reading, and that is really enriching for your life. I love getting to know new things, new people, and that allows you to, to stay mentally fit. And it gives, at least to me, it gives so many good emotions. So yeah, I think that's the major reason. It's just interesting.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And I think maybe writing can help us to keep the curiosity to the whole world, and it can open our mind or something. Yeah, that's the reason my patient to the books or something like that. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Alice. Absolutely, yeah. Writing is, of course, closely related to reading. You can be a good writer if you do not read. And reading is an intellectual process, and writing is also an intellectual process, but it has different dynamics, and it just it's a different mindset, but it's all necessary. And what's the most exciting thing about it is these are all parts of your personality.
Yeah, that's very well said. Yeah, thank you so much, Alice, for that question. Wonderful question. And thank you, Inna, for answering a great question. And now, Victoria, you have a question?
Yes, I just have a question. Actually, some of my friends are also interested in writing, but because of the work, they are not able to join today. But most likely, they are interested in, but they have the common question is that for our general people, like we don't have so much skills about how to write. If they are just interested in writing, how they can improve their writing skills in their daily life? What's your suggestions? Thank you.
Well, first of all, writing is a skill and it can be developed. And your interest in writing is the first thing, is the foundation. So if you really want it, you just start writing. You learn by doing things. You learn to write by writing. So I would say for me, it would work to have an assignment. Because for me, it's quite difficult to write just for myself. For me, it's work, of course, and I have clients, I have media for which I work. And if you're just starting, you might want to I don't know, volunteer for an internet site, or for a media, and that will give you motivation to write something, and to know that your piece of writing will be posted, published somewhere, is a good motivation. So that's the first thing. And once you have an assignment, you just start doing that. You go through all these stages I mentioned earlier. And of course, it won't be perfect for the first time. But if you're writing for someone, or for a project, for the media, they usually have editors that will give you feedback and say, well, this is good. Here you have to change, here you have to add something. And that will help you a lot, and you won't make the same mistakes after. Another thing is that you have to read, as I said before. But say you want to be a copywriter and run social media. The best thing is to follow bloggers who you really like, to observe their writing style, their tone of voice, their choice of vocabulary, and try to mimic it in the first place. You won't be able to copy it 100%, because we are all different people, and as I said, writing is thinking, and I'm Inna, you're Victoria, and even if we go to the same school and listen to the same teacher, we'll never be writing in the same way, because we have different backgrounds, we have different biochemistry, whatever. But there are some specific formal rules, as I said, and these are learned through practice and through communication with experienced people.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your very great suggestions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Inna. Anybody else has any questions? Please raise your hand or type it in the chat.
It's me again.
Oh, hi, Lulu. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Inna, I would like to know recently, what do you like to write about? Which category? Maybe before or now you change a little bit. So like maybe name like 3 categories you love to write about. Thank you.
Thank you, Lulu. It's a great question. My journalistic background is in arts and culture. So I wrote extensively about contemporary art and not only contemporary art, but art in general. This is my favorite area. But now I work with businesses and individuals, so I'm more exposed to other topics like consulting or nonprofit or entrepreneurship. And although I didn't know that area before, now that I'm exploring it, through writing, I come to enjoy it, and that relates to, I said before, to our natural curiosity. Once you get into an area, you realize that it is actually interesting, and before you might not have had the chance to learn about it, but it's only your circumstances, and you can find interesting things in almost every area.
Yeah, thank you so much, Inna, and thank you very much for to everyone who's participating today. We allotted for 1 hour now. We have someone new coming in right now. We're about to finish. Yeah, let's let Jessica in. What I want to say now is, if you really have a question for Inna, please ask. If not, we are actually going to close this interview. We look forward to Inna's workshop. It's for free next week, exactly the same time. She will be teaching introductory to writing. Inna, why don't you tell us a little bit about the next workshop? What do we expect from that workshop?
Yeah, thank you. So we'll explore more in detail what we discussed today, some general principles of writing, some basic structures. Of course, there are variations of that, but we will explore some basic frameworks, choice of vocabulary. We'll learn what is the tone of voice and how to render it. And you will have a general idea of how to work on texts. And yeah, and you can decide for yourself which area would be interesting for you.
Hey, that's wonderful. Sounds really exciting. I'm not a big writer, but I know it's going to be very good knowledge that we can learn, we can use in everyday lives, actually. Like Inna said, writing is thinking. If we can write clearly, that means we're thinking clearly. So thank you so much, Inna, for joining us today. If you guys now, why Inna is still here, you can still jump in with questions. If not, we're going to let Inna go and she will continue with her day in Moscow. So yeah, anybody have any last question? No? Okay, that's good. Thank you very much for joining tonight, and we will see you next Thursday for Inna's workshop at exactly same time, 8 p.m. Beijing time. And a big thank you to Inna for joining us, and we look forward to your workshop next week.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to our workshop.
Yeah, we do too. Yeah. Bye, Inna.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Ali.